most people never hear about. Something called anabolic resistance. It's the reason you can eat protein and still keep losing muscle. And it's also the reason the 8 foods we're about to walk through can make such a big diff. Here's where the story gets even more frustrating and hopeful. What you're running into has a name: anabolic resistance. When you were 25, you could eat almost any kind of protein and your muscles would soak it up like a sponge. A burger, some eggs, a big dinner. And your body would quietly repair, rebuild, and grow. After 50, the sponge gets stiff. Your muscles don't respond to small amounts of protein the way they used to. You can eat what feels like a normal breakfast. And your muscles basically shrug and say, "Not enough. Try again later." Here's what the research is showing. For men over 50, it's not just how much protein you eat in a day. It's how much you get at each meal. And whether you hit a certain threshold of one key amino acid, that amino acid is called leucine. Think of protein as a pile of bricks. Leucine is the foreman on the job site. If the foreman doesn't show up, the workers just stand around. Nothing gets built, even if the bricks are sitting right there. Most men over 50 need roughly 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine per meal, just to flip the muscle-building switch. If you miss that mark, your body can literally ignore the protein you just ate. Now think about a common breakfast. 1 piece of toast, a little butter or jam, maybe 1 egg, coffee. It feels light. It feels healthy. But in terms of leucine, it's a near miss. You took the time to eat, but your muscles never got the signal to grow. That's exactly why so many men keep losing muscle, even when they watch their diet. And there's another problem. Most men load almost all their protein at dinner. Breakfast, almost nothing. Lunch, a little. Dinner, big steak or a large portion of meat. For a younger man, that pattern is annoying but survivable. For a man over 50, it's a recipe for slow, steady muscle loss. The good news is you don't need fancy powders or expensive supplements to fix this. You need smart, natural foods that hit that leucine threshold, are easy to digest, fit under $2 per serving, and are simple enough to eat every single morning. In just a moment, I'm going to walk you through 8 of those foods. Which ones are good, which ones are great, and how to combine them into a real, natural muscle-building remedy you can start using at breakfast tomorrow. All right, let's get into the actual food. We'll start at number 8 and work our way up. Number 8, canned tuna, the solid protein most men ignore at breakfast. Let's begin with something simple, familiar, and cheap, canned tuna. Most men think of tuna as a lunch food. A quick sandwich, maybe a tuna salad. Hardly anyone thinks of it as a breakfast muscle builder. But for men over 50, tuna in the morning can be a very smart move. 1 standard can of tuna, around 4 to 5 ounces drained, gives you roughly 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein. That's more protein than most men get in their entire breakfast. And because it's animal protein, it naturally contains leucine, enough to help you get close to that muscle-building threshold we talked about. On top of that, tuna provides omega-3 fats. Those healthy fats help lower chronic inflammation, which is one of the quiet enemies of muscle in older men. Less inflammation means better recovery, better joint comfort, and more strength from the protein you are eating. Price-wise, tuna usually fits easily under $2 a serving, especially if you buy in multi-packs when it's on sale. So how do you use tuna at breakfast? You do not need to make it fancy. You can. Spread tuna on whole grain toast with a little olive oil and black pepper. Mix tuna with a spoonful of plain Greek yogurt instead of mayonnaise. For a higher protein tuna cream, you can put on toast or crackers. If you have high blood pressure, pick lower sodium varieties. And if you are worried about mercury, you can rotate tuna with sardines later on this list. Tuna is not trendy. It's not pretty, but it is a rock-solid, affordable protein tool for a man who wants real muscle, not marketing. Stay with me now, because the next food on the list looks like just carbs at first glance. But when you understand how to use it, it becomes one of the best foundations for a muscle-building breakfast. Number 7, oatmeal, the muscle-friendly carb base. Most men think of oatmeal as that heart food, or something you eat when you're trying to lower cholesterol. They see it as a bowl of warm carbs, maybe with some sugar on top. What almost nobody tells you is this. When you're over 50, oatmeal can be one of the best partners for your protein, if you use it the right way. On its own, 1 cup of cooked oatmeal gives you around 5 to 6 grams of protein. That is not enough to trigger muscle building by itself. If you only eat plain oatmeal with a little fruit, you're getting comfort, some fiber, and energy. But your muscles are still waiting for a signal. The reason oatmeal earns a spot on this list is because of what it does for the rest of your breakfast. Oatmeal is rich in a special type of fiber called beta-glucan. This fiber helps keep your blood sugar steady, supports your gut health, and may even reduce low-grade inflammation. Steadier blood sugar means more stable energy for walking, training, or simply moving through your day. A healthier gut means better absorption of the protein you eat. The real magic happens when you don't eat oatmeal alone. You use it as a base. Then you load it with high-protein, high-leucine foods. For example, a bowl of oatmeal topped with plain Greek yogurt, and a spoon or 2 of hemp seeds, oatmeal with a scoop of cottage cheese stirred in, and some berries on top. Savory oatmeal cooked in water or broth, with canned tuna or sardines on top, if you like a more hearty breakfast. A big container of oats costs just a few dollars, and can last you many mornings. That keeps your cost well under $2 per serving, even when you add toppings. So remember this rule. Oatmeal is the road. Your protein is the traffic. Without the road, things are messy. Without the traffic, nothing moves. Put them together, and your muscles finally have what they need. Next, let's talk about a breakfast many of you already have in the fridge, but may be using the wrong way. Number 6, Greek yogurt, the 2-in-1 protein for older men. If there is one food I wish every man over 50 would keep in his refrigerator, it's plain Greek yogurt, not regular yogurt, not the sugary flavored cups. Specifically, plain Greek yogurt. Here's why. 1 typical serving of Greek yogurt, around 3/4 to 1 cup, gives you roughly 17 to 20 grams of protein. More importantly, it usually provides close to 2.5 grams of leucine all by itself. Remember that leucine foreman we talked about? Greek yogurt often brings enough of that foreman to the job site to actually flip the muscle-building switch at breakfast, especially when you combine it with something like oats or nuts. But there's another reason Greek yogurt is special. It gives you 2 kinds of protein in one bowl. Whey protein, which is fast-absorbing. Casein protein, which is slow and steady. Whey helps get amino acids into your bloodstream quickly, so your muscles get an early hit. Casein keeps feeding your muscles for hours, which is especially helpful if you're the kind of man who doesn't snack much between meals. On top of that, Greek yogurt brings calcium for your bones and probiotics to support your gut. The problem comes when men grab the wrong kind. Flavored yogurts often pack 15 to 20 grams of added sugar. That sugar spike can work against your health, and you end up with a dessert pretending to be a health food. The fix is simple. Choose plain Greek yogurt. If you want sweetness, add your own berries, or a very small amount of honey or mashed banana. You can eat it straight from the bowl. Pour it over oatmeal, mixed with tuna or beans as a creamy, high-protein sauce. Greek yogurt is usually around $1 to $2 a serving, often less if you buy larger tubs instead of single cups. If you only changed one thing about your breakfast this month, switching to plain Greek yogurt and pairing it with something from this list would already move you in the right direction. And if you're still with me, that tells me you're serious about this. So let's keep going. The next food is one many men skip because of taste or texture. But once you understand what it does while you sleep, you might see it very differently. Number 5, cottage cheese, the nighttime shield for your muscles. Cottage cheese is one of those foods a lot of men skip, for one simple reason. They don't like how it looks or feels. I understand that, but if you can get past the texture, cottage cheese is one of the most useful muscle foods a man over 50 can keep in his fridge. 1 cup of cottage cheese gives you around 28 grams of protein, and roughly 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine. That means it doesn't just bring the bricks. It brings plenty of foremen to actually start building. About 80% of that protein is casein. Casein is slow, very slow. When you eat cottage cheese, your body releases amino acids into your bloodstream for 6 to 7 hours. Why does that matter so much for older men? Because most of your muscle breakdown happens at night while you sleep. You're not eating. You're fasting for 8, 9, sometimes 10 hours. Without a slow, steady source of protein, your body starts breaking down your own muscle tissue to get what it needs. Cottage cheese acts like a nighttime shield. If you eat it at breakfast, it keeps you covered through the morning. If you have a small portion in the evening, it can help protect your muscles overnight. If the texture bothers you, you don't have to eat it in big chunks. You can blend it into a smoothie with berries and cinnamon. Spread it on whole grain toast and top with tomato or avocado. Stir it into warm oatmeal off the heat, so it melts and turns creamy. A tub of cottage cheese is usually inexpensive, and each serving often comes in well under $2. If you're serious about not losing more muscle while you sleep, cottage cheese is worth another look. Now let's move to a food that brings the power of beans into a breakfast a lot of men actually enjoy. Number 4, black beans, the budget muscle builder. Beans may not sound like a breakfast food if you grew up on toast and eggs, but for men over 50, black beans are one of the most powerful budget muscle tools you can use. Half a cup of cooked black beans gives you roughly 7 to 8 grams of protein, plus a big dose of fiber. On their own, beans don't quite hit the leucine threshold. But remember, you don't have to get all the leucine from one single food. Black beans do 3 very important things. They add real protein to whatever you're already eating. They bring fiber that helps control blood sugar and keeps you full longer. They support gut health, and a healthier gut absorbs protein better. Here's what that looks like at breakfast. A simple breakfast burrito. Whole grain tortilla, black beans, a spoonful of Greek yogurt, maybe some scrambled egg or salsa, beans on whole grain toast, with a little cottage cheese on top. Instead of a processed spread, canned black beans are cheap. If you drain and rinse them, you cut down on sodium and reduce some of the compounds that cause gas. If your stomach is sensitive, start small, a couple of tablespoons the first few days, then work up to a quarter cup or half a cup. For a man on a fixed income, beans are a way to add meaningful protein and muscle support without asking your wallet for permission each month. Now, let's talk about a food you might already know is healthy, but maybe never thought of as a breakfast ally for your legs and hips. Number 3, sardines, small fish, big muscle support. Sardines at breakfast might sound strange if you've never tried it, but for men over 50, this little fish does a lot of heavy lifting. One small can of sardines usually gives you about 20 to 23 grams of high-quality protein. That's more than 3 eggs. On top of that, sardines are one of the richest sources of omega-3 fatty acids you can buy at a very low price. Why does that matter for your muscles? As you age, low-grade inflammation builds up in your body. It wears down your joints, slows your recovery, and can interfere with how well your muscles respond to the protein you eat. Omega-3 fats help fight that inflammation. They don't bulk you up overnight, but they quietly improve the environment your muscles live in. Sardines are also one of the lowest mercury fish. Health agencies often list them as a best choice seafood for exactly that reason. At breakfast, you can mash sardines on whole grain toast with a squeeze of lemon and a little pepper. Mix them into scrambled eggs or an omelet for a hearty, savory start to the day. Cans of sardines usually cost between $1 and $3. If you buy them on sale, you can easily keep your serving under $2. If you don't like the idea of fish for breakfast, I'd encourage you to try it once. On a slow morning at home, you might be surprised how satisfying it feels to eat something warm, salty, and substantial before you start your day. Now we've covered several animal-based options. Let's move to a plant food that doesn't look like much on the plate, but quietly brings a complete protein package older muscles really appreciate. Number 2, hemp seeds, the invisible protein upgrade. Hemp seeds don't scream man food the way steak or eggs do. They look like tiny, soft grains. You barely notice them once they're mixed in. But under the surface, they are doing a lot. Just 3 tablespoons of hemp seeds give you about 10 grams of easily digestible protein. Unlike many plant foods, hemp seeds are a complete protein. They contain all 9 essential amino acids for older men. There are a few big advantages here. The protein is highly digestible, which matters if your stomach is more sensitive now than it was at 30. They bring a balanced mix of omega-3 and omega-6 fats that support heart health and help calm inflammation. They're soft if you have dental issues or don't enjoy chewing large amounts of meat. First thing in the morning, hemp seeds are an easy way to increase your protein without feeling like you're forcing it. Best of all, hemp seeds disappear into almost anything. Sprinkle them over oatmeal. Stir them into Greek yogurt. Add them on top of beans and eggs. Blend them into a smoothie with cottage cheese or yogurt. A bag of hemp seeds might look expensive at first glance, but when you divide the cost by how many servings you get, it often comes down to well under $2 per breakfast. Think of hemp seeds as your quiet insurance policy. They help push your breakfast closer to the leucine and protein threshold without requiring a big change in what you eat. And now, we've come to number 1. This last food is simple, familiar, and sitting in almost every American kitchen. But most men have never thought of it as part of a muscle-building plan. Number 1, natural peanut butter, the everyday muscle helper. Peanut butter is not fancy. It doesn't appear in most superfood lists, but for men over 50, used the right way, it can be a powerful ally. 2 tablespoons of natural peanut butter give you around 7 to 8 grams of protein, along with healthy fats and calories. On its own, peanut butter will not hit the leucine threshold. But remember, your goal at breakfast is the total picture. Enough protein, enough leucine, enough calories to fuel your day. For men who are unintentionally undereating, or who feel full quickly, peanut butter is valuable because it packs a lot of energy and nutrition into a small volume of food. Here's the important part. You want natural peanut butter. That means just peanuts and maybe a little salt. No added sugar. No hydrogenated oils. You can use peanut butter too. Spread on whole grain toast with a side of Greek yogurt or cottage cheese. Stir into warm oatmeal, along with hemp seeds, for a creamy, filling bowl. Blend into a smoothie, with yogurt and a small banana. For a breakfast you can drink. A jar of natural peanut butter usually gives you many servings, for just a few dollars. That keeps your per meal cost very low. If you have trouble maintaining your weight, or you feel like you run out of gas by midday, adding a controlled amount of peanut butter to a high-protein breakfast can make a real difference in how strong and steady you feel. Now we've walked through all 8 breakfast foods: canned tuna, oatmeal, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, black beans, sardines, hemp seeds, natural peanut butter. You do not need to eat all of them at once. You do not need a perfect breakfast tomorrow. In the next part of this video, I'm going to show you how to put these into simple combinations, real breakfasts you can actually see yourself eating, and how to build a 30 to 90 day plan to slowly rebuild your strength without expensive powders or complicated diets. Let's bring this home. If you're a man over 50, you are likely losing muscle each year unless you do something about it on purpose. Your body has changed. What used to work at 25 no longer works the same way. We talked about sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss, anabolic resistance. Your muscles stop listening to small amounts of protein, the importance of leucine, and hitting a meaningful dose of protein at every meal, especially breakfast. And we walked through 8 simple, affordable foods you can find in normal stores: canned tuna, oatmeal, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, black beans, sardines, hemp seeds, natural peanut butter. None of them are magic. Together, used consistently, they can give your muscles what they've been missing for years. So here's your challenge. For the next 30 days, choose one of the strong breakfasts we talked about and eat it at least 4 mornings each week. If that goes well, extend it to 90 days and rotate through 2 or 3 favorites so you don't get bored. Pay attention to how easy it feels to stand up from a low chair or couch, how your legs feel on stairs, how steady you feel stepping out of the shower. If, after 30 to 90 days of better breakfasts and a bit more movement, those things start to feel easier, that's not an accident. That's your muscle responding to the way you're feeding it. Now I'd like to hear from you. In the comments, tell me which one of these foods you're going to start with tomorrow morning. Just pick one. Tuna, oats, yogurt, cottage cheese, beans, sardines, hemp seeds, or peanut butter. I read those comments, and they help me know what kind of videos you need next. If this breakdown was helpful, and you want more clear, science-backed videos for men over 50 who want to stay strong naturally, go ahead and hit subscribe. Before you forget, in the next video, I'm going to show you the 5 worst breakfast mistakes that quietly speed up muscle loss in older men, including one food almost every American kitchen has on the counter right now. You don't want to keep making those mistakes while you're trying to fix your strength. Until then, eat smart, move a little more, and remember, you are not too old to rebuild your muscles. You just finally have the rules.